Once upon a time, there were 9 planets circling our sun, and the last one, the smallest, the coldest, and perhaps the loneliest, was Pluto. For generations, we grew up seeing it at the edge of every classroom poster, a frozen dot marking the end of everything we knew. But then, in 2006, everything changed. Astronomers decided that Pluto no longer deserved to be called a planet. It was deleted, exiled from the solar family. Yet the universe has a strange sense of justice. In the very same year, Pluto was stripped of its title. NASA launched a probe, a silent traveler, to bring back its story. Its name was New Horizons. And what it would find out there would change everything we thought we knew about Pluto. For years, the world turned away from Pluto as if it had fallen off the map of our imagination. But in the dark, it waited, slowly, silently, orbiting the sun on a tilted path, 17 degrees off the solar plane, as if refusing to obey the rules that cast it out. And then came its avenger, the small craft, New Horizons, racing across space at more than 16 kilometers per second, faster than any mission before it. Its mission to meet Pluto face to face, and to discover what truly hides in the frozen outskirts of our solar system. They said Pluto was small, cold, and dead. But what NASA found would prove that death doesn't exist in the language of the cosmos. For more than 70 years, Pluto held its place among the planets, small. Yes, but proud. Until one day, the rules changed. It wasn't a scandal, or a secret vote in the dark. It was simply a new definition. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union decided that a planet must meet 3 rules. First, it must orbit the sun. Second, it must be massive enough for gravity to shape it into a near-perfect sphere. And third, it must clear its neighborhood of other objects, becoming the master of its orbit. Pluto passed the first 2 tests easily, but that last one was fatal, because far beyond Neptune lies a vast ring of icy debris, a cosmic scrapyard called the Kuiper belt. And Pluto isn't alone there. It's just one glimmering shard among thousands. The rule said a planet must rule its orbit, but out here, nothing rules. Everything drifts. So, Pluto was judged not for what it was, but for where it lived. It wasn't destroyed. It was demoted. And in that single decision, humanity turned its back on the 9th planet, a quiet exile at the edge of sunlight. Beyond Neptune, sunlight fades into a cold blue haze, a boundary few worlds dare to cross. Here lies the Kuiper belt, a vast ring of frozen debris, stretching billions of kilometers wide. It's a place of relics, the leftover bones of the early solar system, ancient ice, silent rocks, shadows that have circled the sun for 4.5 billion years. If the solar system were a city, Pluto would live in the scrapyard behind the last streetlight. And it's not alone. Out here drift others, Eris. Larger and heavier than Pluto, Make. Red and distant, and the fractured world of Haumea. Spinning like a shard of glass. They are Pluto's neighbors, rivals, and maybe its reflections. In this forgotten frontier, no one rules. The sun is just a faint ember in the dark, and gravity barely holds its reach. Reaching Pluto would be like trying to hit a grain of sand from across a football field while blindfolded. And in the dark, the distance more than 5 billion kilometers. Too far for sunlight to warm. Too far for radio to reply quickly. Yet NASA decided to try. Their solution was speed. The spacecraft New Horizons weighed only 478 kilograms, lighter than a small car. It was launched atop an Atlas V rocket, fitted with 5 solid boosters delivering more than 2 million pounds of thrust. When those engines ignited, New Horizons became the fastest human-made object ever launched. 9 hours, that's all it took to leave the moon behind. 10 times faster than Apollo. Its path was plotted to slingshot around Jupiter, using the giant's gravity like a cosmic bowstring tightening, then releasing to fire it straight toward Pluto. A journey through darkness. A race against distance itself. As New Horizons raced through the outer solar system, its first destination wasn't Pluto, it was Jupiter. The largest planet in the solar system, a world of storms so vast they could swallow Earth whole. As it flew past in 2007, New Horizons took its first photographs, clouds swirling over Jupiter's poles, and a volcano erupting on the moon, Io. But this encounter wasn't just for pictures. NASA used Jupiter's immense gravity to give the probe a slingshot boost, flinging it even faster into the deep beyond Neptune. A brief encounter with a giant, a slingshot that hurled it into the abyss beyond Neptune. And then, space grew silent again. 9 years later, a tiny camera met an icy world no one had truly seen. At first, Pluto was just a blurry dot, a cold glimmer at the edge of blackness. But as New Horizons closed in, the blur began to sharpen, until something unexpected appeared. A bright patch, pale, smooth, shaped like a heart. A heart. Carved in nitrogen ice, a message from the cold. Scientists named it Sputnik Planitia, a vast plain of frozen nitrogen shaped by slow convection currents rising from below. It's roughly the size of Texas, and almost perfectly smooth, no impact craters, no scars of time. That means Pluto's surface is still active, constantly erasing its past, rewriting itself beneath the frost. For a world that was once declared dead, that heart was proof of life. Two worlds locked in an endless dance. Pluto and its moon, Charon, are bound together by gravity, not as planet and satellite, but as equals. Charon is almost half Pluto's size. So massive that their shared center of gravity, the barycenter, lies outside Pluto itself. That means neither truly orbits the other. Instead, both circle an invisible point in space between them. If you stood on Pluto, Charon would always hang in the same spot in the sky, never rising, never setting. And if you stood on Charon, Pluto would do the same, a frozen partner, locked in perfect sync. Together, they drift through the dark, their gravity tied like two dancers, holding hands across eternity. On the western edge of Pluto's heart lies a vast, dark stain, a land the color of dried blood. Astronomers call it Cthulhu Macula, a name borrowed from ancient myths of darkness. Its surface is coated in complex organic compounds called tholins, born from sunlight, striking methane and carbon dioxide, CO2, in Pluto's thin atmosphere. Here, sunlight meets ancient gas and paints the surface with the color of radiation. Those particles drift downward like a slow, red snow settling over mountains, plains, and craters. Over time, the landscape becomes stained in crimson, a silent record of Pluto's chemistry and age. In a world of ice, this is where color survives. Near the southern edge of Pluto's heart rises a vast mountain, Right Mons, 5 kilometers tall and 150 wide. It looks like a volcano, but not the kind we know. Instead of fire, it erupts with ice, a slushy mix of water, ammonia, and methane. And the strangest part, there are almost no impact craters on it. That means it's young, refreshed, still active proof that something beneath the surface is alive with motion. The source of that energy isn't sunlight, it's heat from radiogenic decay. The slow breakdown of radioactive elements deep in Pluto's core. That decay releases warmth just enough to keep the inner layers from freezing solid. Below the frost, an ocean whispers, perhaps as old as the solar system itself. Scientists believe the bond between Pluto and Charon began with violence, billions of years ago. A massive collision shattered two icy bodies, and from that chaos, twins were born. A collision that didn't destroy, but bound them forever. As the debris settled, gravity drew them into a perfect rhythm, spinning together, locked face to face. And on Pluto's side, opposite Charon, lies its heart, Sputnik Planitia, a scar that became a symbol, a reminder that even from collision, beauty can emerge. Two worlds, bound by impact, orbiting in eternal balance. Maybe Pluto isn't a planet. Maybe it's something rarer, a survivor of what came before. It carries scars of collision, oceans beneath ice, and a heart that still beats in the cold. And perhaps, in every heart-shaped shadow out there, there's a reminder that even the smallest world deserves to be seen. New Horizons sent its final images, then faded into silence, sailing deeper into the unknown. But its signal still echoes a faint heartbeat from the edge of the sun's reach. If you want to be here when the next transmission arrives, subscribe and stay on watch.